there, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. It is Christian here. You're tuned in for more of my 2 cents. Don't mind me. I was just sitting here writing some things out, scripting my life, journaling, and getting things together for the future. Right now, as you can tell from the title, this will be a good one. And you may be like, oh, not her too. Yes, boo, me. Okay? Me too. All right, I do it too. I did it, I've done it, and I'm going to share it with you. But before we get into the topic of today, let me let you know my 3 points that matter most while we're discussing all things 2 cents. Number 1, you are not alone. Number 2, you're not crazy. Number 3, God, your creator, still loves you. Boop, boop. Okay, so you're looking at the title and you're like, how we manifested our first dream home, and you're probably like, girl, what is you talking about? Like, not the manifestation train, Jesus. The manifestation bus. Get on it. Let's do it. Now, if you're new here, welcome. So excited to have you. Hopefully this will not be your last video and you will subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any new videos. And if you're coming back, this is a little switch up, but it is a story time that I'm pretty sure a lot of you will definitely be able to relate to and hopefully use some great information, details, and resources on how you can move forward in working from within so you never live without. That's a word. Now, I am going to enjoy telling this story because it's coming from such a happy place and great memories and a continuation of amazing blessings that have just taken place since then. And I definitely believe that this can help someone because had I known what we were doing at the time, I probably would have been doing it my whole life, but I didn't know. But once you learn, you keep it going. So this story is how my husband and I manifested our first dream home when we lived in Tupelo, Mississippi. And it's just a beautiful story of faith in action. And I will be referencing 2 scriptures here. All right. Well, probably 3. Anyway, we'll see. The first one is faith without works is dead. That is so true. And I take a lot of the quotes in the Bible, scriptures, as motivation and inspiration, not just something that you read, you say, and you hope to see happen, but something that you actually practice, do, and allow to live within you. So faith without works is dead. Number 2, write the vision, make it plain, right? You got to do it. Do the work. And number 3, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? And then out of the abundance of the mouth, the heart speaks. Oh my goodness. So many great inspirational scriptures and quotes from the Bible that a lot of people who are in church don't actually live by, practice, or see manifested. And so this is why this story is so important. In 2009, my husband and I got married. We were young. We were 21 years old, which I need to do a video on that too, about getting married young, get my 2 cents on it all. But we got married and we moved into his sister's home. It was a beautiful home. It was on a golf course. We lived in a rent-free for like a year and a half, and we didn't have any, we weren't making enough money to pay for that house. Even if she had a charge us, we wouldn't have had it. But she didn't charge us. So we moved into that house. We were 21 years old, a beautiful 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with a bonus movie room upstairs, and we barely had enough furniture to furnish the home, okay? But it was okay. We were happy. We had love, and hey, we were new to this, not true to this. And after that, we would go on to live with my husband's mother for a short period of time because his sister decided to sell the house. And so we lived with his mom. We had to move back into my husband's upstairs bedroom, which was nice too. Now, let me be very clear. His room was nice because it was his mother's bonus room, like movie theater type area. And it was a lot of space, but we were living out of garbage bags. But oh my God, this got dark really quick. I told y'all this is going to be a good video. What the fuck? Okay, so going down memory lane, just had a little bumps in it. We lived in his mother's upstairs area. I think it was like 6 months. It wasn't even that long. So I ain't going to even trip. We lived in there for about 5 or 6 months. It was like from February to May because I told him we will not be here longer than 6 months. Okay. All right. And so that's what we manifested then. Now, understand that back in 2010, 2011, manifestation was not a thing. Like, nobody was calling it that. Nobody was talking about it by and large by that title. Content wasn't being pushed out to that end. Now, I know people have been practicing this forever and understanding the power of the thoughts in the mind and your will and your intellect, your emotion, your connection, your alignment, all of that has been being practiced forever. We just didn't know that that's what it was being called. It wasn't a movement. It wasn't a culture. It wasn't something that was actually happening socially in large numbers, especially not in the Black community. And so we were in church though, highly active and involved. And we were doing affirmations and things like that, like, spiritual affirmations and calling things from the heavens to the earth. And we suffered a miscarriage at the time and totally down and out, didn't know what to do. It was a very, very rough, hard time. But anyway, we moved out of his mom's house and into our first home on our own. The first time we were paying rent, the first time that we had our own stuff, it was a little rundown home, honey. Let me be very clear. It was cute, but it just wasn't giving what it was supposed to give. I would not live there today. But we lived in that home. It was $600. I think it was $650 for rent monthly. The lady that gave us the home, her name was Phyllis. I remember she was so sweet, had the funniest, sweetest country accent I'd ever heard in my life. Oh my God. Like, you guys are just so darling. Y'all just so cute. It was hilarious, but she was super sweet. And we were struggling. Okay, we did not have stable incomes like that to even afford the $650 house, but we made it do what it do. Like, we never borrowed money like that from people. We have gotten title loans on cars before to pay rent. We were behind on rent multiple times. Like, I'm just giving y'all full disclosure because I want y'all to hear the story of the manifestation of this dream home. Like, it was a beautiful unfolding that I know it was from God and the power within us that created this for our future, for our reality, and brought it into our experience. And so we really didn't have a lot, you guys. I'm grateful we didn't have children at the time, but we didn't have a lot. We were working, simple jobs. I worked at hotels. My husband worked at Sears. I worked at Ross. And then he would go on to not work for a minute and become a self-taught web designer, graphic designer, photographer. He is a musician by training, not by training, but he's a musician as well, self-taught. So he taught himself how to play the keyboard, how to play the guitar, how to play the saxophone. Like, the man is a genius, okay? He's very much Kanye is floating through this bitch. And he taught himself all of these things, but it would be to our benefit in the future. But at the time, it didn't feel like a benefit, honey. It felt like he knew how to do a lot of things, but it was not paying for all of the things, okay? But we were young and we did a lot of teamwork, and I carried a lot of the weight a lot of the time in our marriage in the beginning. We were 21 when we got married, so be very clear, we were not established in any way. But we did the work and we trusted the process, and it got very hard, and it got to the point at some points where I wanted to end like the journey together. Like, I was like, I can go back home to Indiana and not struggle for free. But I don't want to be two able-bodied adults struggling to survive. It just didn't make sense to me. And at that time, we had a lot of things going on. We actually, had received eviction notices, I think like twice. Not eviction. I think it was past due. It was like past due notices. And maybe those are eviction notices. Who knows? I blocked it out. It was trauma. But it never came to that. So we never were actually evicted. But it was at that point in time when I think we had received like the second notice. We were behind, I think, like 2 months. And it was very stressful because we were working, but it just wasn't enough. Like, we just could not ever get caught up. Like, the rent was $650. And then our electricity bill was like $400, $500 sometimes, and the house was so small, y'all, but it was old. And the system, I guess, overran. Like, the meter was crazy. I don't know. I think it was a scam, but they got us because it was too much to keep up with trying to pay the rent and the actual utility bills on the home. It just became too much for us. And so we were behind on rent. We took them some of the money, but we never had all of it. And at the time, we were at church, and I actually shared this story in another story time the other week about our pastor lying about a new home they bought and rented. But at the time, he was teaching on calling those things, into existence and bringing, God's, what do they say? Your will, thy kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So we were already in that mindset to call those things that be not as though they were, to really set your mind on the things that you want and desire and affirm them as being done. Like, you're not waiting for something to happen. It's already done, right? You just have to expect it and see it for it to come to pass. And so we weren't calling it manifesting then. We just knew that it was scripture. It was faith. It was faith-based. And some people will call it the prosperity gospel, but so what? We knew what we wanted and what we desired, and we never let that set us apart from what we accepted as our truth. And so we didn't complain. People wouldn't know to this day. Like if my mom and his mom saw this video, they'd be shocked because nobody knew we were struggling or didn't have any money or couldn't pay our rent at the time. It was a very hard time for us. And we didn't complain, though. We never lost sight of what it is we desired. And we never set ourselves in alignment with lack or poverty or, stress or anything like that. We just knew there was better for us. We knew there was more. And we accepted that. And seeing our pastors get the home that they got actually just activated it even more. Like we went into beast mode at that point. We was like, oh shit. Like that's what the Lord out here doing. Big. Like say less. Right? We about to get it. And we did. So the first thing that happened was I got a car that I'd wanted for a while. And it was my first car. So I got a Chrysler 300 that I wanted. And it was beautiful. It was everything. Me and my husband had shared a car for like the first 3 years of our marriage before I got a vehicle. And I didn't mind, it was about time, but I didn't mind. And his car didn't have a car note, so it did help us to not be stressed that much about car payments and things. And so when I got the Chrysler 300, it didn't stretch us. It definitely blessed us because it let me see the potential. I had gotten a job at a radio station, a very big Christian radio network. And it's actually a national radio network. And so I started off as an intern. And like within a month, they actually brought me on part-time to like be a part of a growing network that they were doing. And I was going to be getting paid. Like I went from not getting paid for like 2-3 weeks. And then it was like, boom, we're going to go ahead and bring you on and pay you. I was like, woo, woo, won't he do it? So that was my new job. And then Courtney had just got his first good job working at the Daily Journal, which was so precious. He got his first good job, stable income, good money, as they would call it back then. And we were excited. We were doing great, right? Oh, but they started messing with the baby. They started messing with that baby on his job, messed up our money. We have a lot of morals and integrity, and we do not play about people playing with us. So my husband quit his job. Things came down to it. He had a magazine that he was publishing, and the Daily Journal was a publisher as well, a newspaper. And he was the graphic designer. And they found out about his magazine, and they gave him an ultimatum. You can do the magazine, or you can leave, right? It was a non-compete clause of sorts. They didn't want him to do both because they felt like, hey, you could possibly go after some of our advertisers for your magazine, whatever. Bull. But hey, we're the kind of people. And my husband left. He came to me, of course. He didn't just quit his job and come home and tell me, but we talked about it. And I remember specifically sitting in that little house that the front door, like screen door was broke. And he's sitting on the arm of that orange couch and talking to me. And he was like, I just can't do it. Like, I cannot let them pretty much stop me. Like, I can't let them do this to me. I'm not going to do what they're proposing or expect or fearing. But if they see me as a threat, then I'm going to leave. Like, I'm not going to stay there and try to pretty much demean or push myself down to exist in that space when they're not respecting my dreams and my goals too. And so I said, baby, I support you. I don't like it. I don't want you to. This is the first time that we've had all the things that we need to have. I have a good job. You have a good job. We're stable now. We can get ahead now. And if you're going to leave, I just need to know that you're going to do whatever you have to do to take care of what you're leaving. Right? I needed to balance out and to make up for it. I'm not going back to the struggle boat. Child, that didn't work. He did what he could. But at the end of the day, it still didn't add up to what he left in the interim. And so we still were behind on some things, but we had, a little more momentum at the time. And I'll never forget, we got a letter that they were actually selling the house because the owner defaulted on the loan. So the house was going to be auctioned off or whatever, taken over by the bank anyway. So we weren't getting evicted because of that rent. We were getting evicted or removed and displaced because of the homeowner. And so we didn't trip though. We didn't trip. What I did do is start looking for houses. And I would look in the newspaper every day. I was getting the newspaper, looking in the home section. This is before Zillow and stuff popped up and was popular. And I saw a little corner, like a little advertisement in the home section. And it said executive home, $1,500, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, in-ground pool. Like, it just said, like, it was it sounded beautiful in that little paragraph, because you only get like 4 lines in your advertisement, right? And so when my husband got home, I'll never forget, it was raining that night. He got home from being up at the church, because he didn't have a job, but he was at church working on their internet all the time. And so he got home and it was late and it was raining. And I said, oh my goodness, I saw this house in the paper and I want us to ride by it and go see it. And so he was like, okay. So we left the house that night while it was raining, drizzling, and we drove to West Tupelo, where it was, and saw the house. So we pulled up in front of the house and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was everything. There was no picture in the paper. But when we sat in front of that house, it was beautiful. And I'm literally remembering that feeling, like sitting there right now on the side of the street looking at it. And we were just like imagining, we were like, oh my goodness, this house is beautiful. No, we ain't got the money. But he was like, oh my God, this house is beautiful. And I looked over at him. I was sitting in the passenger side and I looked at him and I said, can I have it? And he said, yes. He said, yes, you can have that. Like, you can have that house. And I was like, oh my goodness. Okay. And it was crazy because even though he didn't have the money to give me that house, I still asked, because I like asking, you shall receive. You know what I'm saying? Like, knocking, it shall be open. We should have went and rang the doorbell. They probably would let us move in at night. But we went back home. So we went back home after seeing the house. And it was like something was ignited in us. A fire was ignited because we'd seen what we wanted. And we aligned ourselves with it immediately. And so what we started doing from there was what some people would probably call crazy. My husband, being the graphic designer that he is and the Photoshop genius that he is, he got the floor plan or the mock-up of the house online, I believe, or did he take a picture of it? However, my husband did it. He had a picture of the house and he had it on his computer and he started like doing yard landscaping to the house, y'all. He was like, I want to do this to the bushes. I want to put some up lights in front of the house like this. He literally started doing things to the house on his computer, like editing and changing things. And this is what up lights would look like. And, you know, putting lights down the walkway in front of the house and all of that. And we hadn't even seen the backyard because the backyard was fully fenced in, but it had an in-ground pool. We read that from the, ad. And so we called and scheduled a viewing with Barry. That was the owner, Barry. And so we got to go see the house. And at the time, there was an Asian family living in it, and they definitely observed not having shoes on when you walk around the house. So we took our shoes off, and they were getting ready to move out. And Barry was walking us through, and my heart was just going so fast. I was so excited, and I just couldn't believe we were walking around this house that looked like this with where we lived. Like, we left a house that was like 900 some square feet with roaches on the counter, no cap, with roaches on the counter and a broken front door and a bathroom door that won't close and get jammed sometimes when you got to use the butter knife to unlock it. We left that to go see this. Like, we backed up out that driveway to go see a 4,000 square foot home without the credit or the income at the time in the bank to actually pay for that. That's what we did. That's the kind of faith we had. We did that, okay? And the guy, Barry, didn't know that, but that was our truth. And at this time, let me add that my husband had gotten a job at the radio, at the network with me. So he was actually a freelancer for the website for the new station, the new network that the radio station was going to be starting. And they freelanced out to him the website, which was a good check, right? So he got paid for that. And then we wanted to move to Texas. They found out through the grapevine. They were like, oh no, we can't let y'all go. They made Courtney an offer that he couldn't refuse, making $15,000 more than he was making at the Daily Journal. Won't he do it? Yes, he will. So just like that, we moved up. And so now we did have two incomes again, mine and his, and we could afford the home we were looking at. And we had to leave the house we were in. And so we walked through the house, got a visual. It was over with after that. You shouldn't let me see it, because now I'm finna have it. And we left that house. We went back home. I remember sitting in the bed, me and my husband talking, like really honing in both of our energy collectively on what we wanted and doing the work. Like, he wrote out some affirmations on a little Post-it. I remember this Post-it, y'all. He wrote out some affirmations on a Post-it for me and for him. And I would read the affirmations every day. I put them on my desk. He put them on his laptop. And we were just confessions. I'm calling them affirmations, but at the time we called them confessions. So we were confessing these things all day, every day, talking about it, thinking about it, meditating on it. Really, you're not knowing you're doing that, but you're setting yourself in alignment with the energy of receiving it. And we had already put ourselves in it. Walking through the house, it was like no limiting belief existed. Like, we weren't talking about it with other people. We weren't calling people like, touch and agree, girl, let me take you by this house, and mama, we finna do this. It was just me and Courtney. Our like precious faith joined in together for this to be our blessing and for this to be our experience. And so things transpired. We, did the application process, all of that, turned it into Barry. He was really nice to us. He said we reminded him of his daughters. He had two young girls who were in Atlanta and getting a start, and he just really wanted to see us do well. We were a young couple, and he really wanted us to have a good start. That's what he repeated all the time, every time he saw us. And it worked in our favor, because he called us and asked if he could come by and see the house that we stayed in currently. And so we were like, sure. And it wasn't much to see. And this is how I know what's for you is for you if you believe that it's true. Because that man came to that little house, that little greenhouse on the hill, with the broken front door, with a broken screen door, with the broken screen door and the creaking floorboards, and the roaches in the kitchen. And he didn't see the roaches. I'm just telling y'all it was because y'all need to know. And he sat on our little orange couch, and we talked a little bit, and that was it, right? And then after that, I think he called maybe a day or so later or something like that and told us that the house, he wanted us to have the house. He had other applications in on it, but he wanted us to have it. And we didn't even do no credit check or none of that. Like, and I know on houses you're supposed to. He knew where we worked, which, he was aware of the radio station, again, national Christian radio station. So people knew of it and they respected it highly. And so for us to work there and to be stable and a young couple, he really wanted to see us do well. And he let us pass other overly qualified adults, because we're 23 and 24. And he gave us the keys to a house that an actual government workers wanted. People who worked for the mayor, for the mayor's office, for the city of Tupelo. We beat out other people who were in their 50s and 60s for this home, who well overqualified income and credit wise, I'm sure, reference wise. But he gave it to Courtney and Christian, because Courtney and Christian have been doing the confessions and calling it as ours. Courtney and Christian have been envisioning themselves in that home. Me sitting up in my office and in my studio when I should have been on the radio, envisioning myself walking through that house, sitting next to the pool with my feet in the water, right? Me seeing myself cooking in the kitchen. Me envisioning myself pulling up in the driveway and letting the garage up. I envisioned all of this stuff before we knew that scripting was a thing, before we knew that manifesting was a thing. This is what we were doing. We were practicing what was preached, which so many people don't do, y'all. That's why for me, it's not about leaving church. It's about leaving the mindset of religiousness, like leaving the religious practices behind it, actually applying what you're reading. I don't care if you think the book is just a motivational book. Take it for what you want to, but use what you need. We used what we needed. People say God ain't a genie. You can't just rub him when you need some. Yes, you do. Bitch, rub. Rub-a-dub-dub-dub. Rub. Rub on the Lord. Rub on the person. Rub on the Creator. Rub on the Creator. That's what they're there for. Not for you to struggle. Not for you just to say, oh, thank you. You definitely be grateful, right? Have gratitude. That's not what I'm saying. Have gratitude, but not thank you for the little bit that you did. I don't need any more. Like, oh, I don't want to be greedy. Child, whole buffet me. I know it's buffet, but I like to pronounce the words. I see buffet. Whole buffet me. I want the whole buffet. Because if you got it, that means I can have it. And why would I hold myself apart from your goodness? It is your will for us to prosper, I believe. Right? So I want these things. We wanted these things. We set ourselves in alignment with these things, and it came. It was ours. And by no means logically did we actually qualify for it. Right? Not from a 900 square foot home with rodents to this. Never saw a rodent, a roach. We saw some ladybugs. It was definitely some little ladybugs. Nothing else. Right? I didn't even want to go sit in my backyard at the other house. And then within 3 weeks, I was in the backyard with the pool. Went from not having, for 4 years, we had a beautiful dining room table that my mother-in-law gifted us from Lane Home Furniture. Beautiful. 8 people, 8-seater. Because you could put the little extender in there to extend it to 8 people. We had that dining room table in their house for 4 years with no dining room chairs. We could not afford dining room chairs for that table. Tell me why, as soon as we moved into this new house, I furnished the whole house the way that I wanted to. Abundance. It was literally like leaving that home and having the faith to leave unlocked everything else because we took action. Had we kept trying to make the little work, we would have only had a little to work with. Oh my God. Had we kept trying to make the little work, we would have only had a little to work with. But we went for more and more came. We existed in a surplus and abundant mindset and more came. The house got bigger. But guess what? We had what we needed to fill it. We were in that home with no children for almost 2 years. And people, our family and friends was coming by the house completely astonished by that home. Nobody I knew had ever lived in anything that nice. I didn't live in anything like that growing up. I didn't know nobody who lived in a home like that growing up. We had space that we had nothing to do with it. We didn't even know what to do with some of the space in the house. Because it was just me and my husband. From a 900 square foot home to a 4,000 square foot home. A home with 1 bathroom that I refused to get in the bathtub to a 3-bedroom home. A 3-bathroom home. Options. Increase. Not just something, but executive living. The crown molding was out of this world beautiful. I'm still looking for crown molding like that at Lowe's right now for when we build our home. I don't even know if the crown molding exists. I need to call Barry and ask him where they got the crown molding from. It was perfection in every way. And let me tell you guys, we did not struggle to pay for it. My husband actually had to tell me to stop paying rent early. He had to tell me why. He said, don't send nobody money before you have to pay them. Like, why are you sending this man this check a whole week or 2 weeks before it's due? I'm like, well, I just don't want it to be late. Write the vision. Make it plain. We went from having over $400 or $500 electricity bills in that 900 square foot home to having $158 electricity bills in a 4,000 square foot home. I'm not lying to you. It benefits me nothing to lie. The costs didn't go up, baby. The benefits got better. We had a whole pool in the backyard running all day, right? Have to clean it, have to put the tabs in it to make sure it don't turn green, which my husband let happen multiple times, more times than I would like to admit. Electricity bill didn't go up. More square footage, more square feet to cool. The bills didn't go up to $400 or $500 like it was in the other house. The other house was costing us more. It was actually costing us more to live broke. But when we stepped over into abundance in our minds, in our hearts, with our mouths, we saw it manifested. Confess something different. Accept something greater. Experience the best. Confess something different. Do it. Do it. Choose something better. Again, it was no touching and agreeing with other people at church, putting in this and that and sowing towards this. We believed when we didn't even have what some people on the outside would have said enough. Like, y'all ain't even got proof and evidence that y'all should be even trying to look at this. The next step would have been an apartment. From the house, since we were finna have to leave, the next step should have logically been an apartment, y'all. But no, we went for the gold and we got it. My husband, before we moved to Texas, which I was so sad for him, child, we bought him a riding lawnmower. That's how huge the front yard was. We had 2 huge front sides of our lawn. This man went from a push lawnmower that would barely work sometimes to mow the grass at the 900 square foot house to a riding lawnmower that we just went to Home Depot. He saw it in front of the store, like, which one you want? Go ahead and get it. And they brought it to the house, right? That was living the life that we saw ourselves living. We took the steps and we did the work. I'm not saying that anything is wrong with not having all the things, but have the things you want. Don't feel bad about the things you want. There were people who asked us what we needed with all that house. There were people who literally wouldn't even compliment us on our home. There were people who came in our home and said, oh, this is cute. The fuck? What? Cute? Like my husband say, puppies are cute. This house is bad, right? The house was bad. And anyone who couldn't say that or accept that, you knew it was something else. But we didn't care because we knew it was what we desired. Don't let anybody keep you from what you desire. If you want to quote Jeremiah 29:11, what do you think the Lord wants for you? What do you think your creator genuinely wants for you? Don't play with yourself and don't let other people play with you. And I'm sharing this story because it excites me to know that there's more in store, not just for us, but for anyone else who's willing to never go without, but to always live from within. And that's what I mean when I say know the power that's in you. Trust the God in you, internally, not somebody else's God level or God relationship or spiritual foundation. I don't need that. I need what I need. I need what's for me. I need to trust me because I'm the one that's going to have to do the work to get here and stay here. Up until we decided to move, let me be very clear, up until we decided to leave Tupelo, that house was good, clear, free, hours, never missed a payment, never one day, never was behind on anything, never lacked anything. When we had our first son, came back home to a beautiful space, entertained, had friends, family over, hosted ugly sweater Christmas parties every year, because that's what we had seen for us. So whatever you're seeing for you, write the vision, make it plain. That's what scripting is, seeing yourself and placing yourself in that space before you even get there. Write it out as if though it's already happened, as if it's already done, as if you're already in that place from that emotion, that excitement, that joy. My husband photoshopping those lights and fixing the hedges and doing all the trim and all of that stuff, that was him seeing it. That was him putting it into action. Me daydreaming about walking through the house and cooking and sitting outside by the pool, that became my reality because I saw it. It doesn't matter if other people don't see it for you. See it for yourself. It's not their job to see it for you. You're actually asking too much if you want other people to come and hold hands with you for your dream. It's yours. Like they say, it wasn't a conference call. The call on your life wasn't a conference call. The call on mine ain't a conference call. The call on my husband's ain't a conference call. You cannot go, even better, Lord. I take it. I receive it, and I will give it to the people. We were just at Great Wolf Lodge a couple of days ago with our children, and my husband found some sunglasses. He thought he had made a come up. He was like, oh, I just found these Ray-Bans sitting on the floor. And he goes to put the Ray-Bans on, y'all. Their prescription. Do you get where I'm going? They weren't meant for you. The vision wasn't meant for you. The vision ain't meant for some of these people. Some of the people you're trying to put your glasses on with prescription for you, with the vision for you, they're not going to be able to see it. They ain't going to be able to see it. And you're trying to make them see, you're trying to show them like, come here, look at it on this side, look at it from this angle, right? Like, you remember when such and such happened, this is why I want to do that, this is why this needs to be like that. You're trying to explain to people who ain't never gonna see it because it's not their vision. It won't fit their sight. They won't be able to help you get to it. So, stop. Stop trying to make your life a conference call. Stop trying to bring everybody to the table. Sometimes your table is set for you. But guess who's coming? Your server with all of the things that you ordered. I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged even the more for my future based off of this information. That is what has guided everything else, because sometimes milestones in your life, in your past, when you've made it through things, stands as your foundation of why you should believe for the next, the better, the best. There have been times, a lot of trying times, where I've had to tap back into that. When we moved to Texas, like, oh my God, like, Lord, this is, looking dark out here. What are we gonna do? And I had to remember, you remember the time you went from 900 square feet to 4,000? You remember the $650 rent you were behind on with the eviction notice? Versus paying rent 2 weeks early for $1,500? Do you remember? Do you remember the time? Right? Consider all things and understand that it is done. You're not waiting for anything. You're not waiting for nothing. You just have to receive it now. Accept it now. Claim it now. See it now. Write it now. Speak it now. Enjoy it now. Okay? You deserve it. It's already available to you. And I'm not here to make you any gimmick, promises, guarantees, or sell you anything. I just want to share with you the truth that a lot of people don't operate in because they're focused too much on fear and punishment. But baby, the real that they don't want you to know is that you have everything you already need right here inside of you. And that scares a lot of people. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I know I have enjoyed sharing it. Hopefully it has impacted you, inspired you to do more work. Don't just confess things with your mouth and just read things, but actually practice them, right? Actually do the work. Focus and commit yourself. I'm not saying you have to cut everybody off, but I am saying that you have to rework some systems and limiting beliefs in your mind that have kept you from the life that I truly believe that you know you deserve and that you actually want. And you can have it. It's not that far from you. If you've enjoyed the video, please like it and please subscribe to the channel. I would hate for you to miss any new video that I upload. And we would love to add you to our 2 Cents crew. But until then, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.